Look at a map of Russia, and you will see a colossal landmass stretching from Europe to the Pacific. But look closer. Above the shoulders of Siberia lies a coastline that freezes for 10 months of the year. For centuries, this was Russia's curse, a frozen wall that locked away its northern potential. But today, that wall has become the strongest shield the nation has ever built. In the modern era, the Russian Arctic is no longer a frontier of survival. It is a militarized zone of absolute control. From the depths of the Kola Peninsula to the remote islands of Franz Josef Land, Moscow is not simply restoring old bases. It is constructing a new reality. And to understand why, you have to forget what you think about ice and snow. Because for Russia, the Arctic is the warmest place on the strategic map. To grasp why Russia is pouring its army, navy, air force, and nuclear triad into this frozen desert, you must first understand a simple, brutal fact of physics. The shortest path between Russia and its primary strategic competitors is not over land or the ocean, it is over the North Pole. A nuclear missile launched from the central United States toward Moscow has to fly over the North Pole. But conversely, a Russian intercontinental ballistic missile, an ICBM, launched from the Arctic coast of Siberia toward North America travels a vastly shorter distance. This cuts flight time from over 30 minutes to under 15. In nuclear strategy, 15 minutes is the difference between a retaliatory strike and total annihilation. Because of this, the Arctic is not just an asset, it is the high ground. Russia understands that controlling the high ground of the Arctic means compressing the reaction time of any potential adversary. This is why the Northern Fleet has been elevated to the status of a full military district. This is why the Kremlin has invested in the Rubezh and Avangard hypersonic glide vehicles stationed in Arctic launch silos. Those weapons are not designed for a long war. They are designed to fly over the pole and reach their targets before the warning systems can fully process the threat. The Russian Navy is restoring the Soviet-era Northern Fleet with a ferocity rarely seen since the Cold War. The Borei-class ballistic missile submarines, the Yasen-class cruise missile submarines, they are all heading north. Why? Because the frozen Arctic Ocean provides a natural acoustic blanket. Under the ice pack, sound behaves differently. The constant cracking and shifting of the ice sheet creates a chaotic noise that hides the acoustic signature of a submarine. An American or NATO anti-submarine warfare aircraft cannot see through 3 meters of ice. But a Russian Poseidon drone or a Bulava SLBM can breach that ice in seconds. Russia is not just rebuilding old piers, it is carving missile silos into the permafrost and building runways on glacial rock. The airfields at Nagorskoye and Trefoil are not simple outposts. They are fortress air bases hosting MiG-31 interceptors armed with hypersonic Kinjal missiles. Those jets can scramble, intercept any incoming bomber stream, and return to base before the ice refreezes over their landing gear. And the Army? The Arctic motorized rifle brigades are trained specifically to fight at -50 degrees. They operate the Tor M2DT air defense systems mounted on 2 link-tracked vehicles, machines that can navigate ice ridges that would shatter a NATO vehicle. For the Russian General Staff, this is the ultimate defensive line. If the Arctic is the shield, these soldiers are the edge of that shield. For a decade after the Soviet collapse, the Arctic bases were abandoned. The radar stations fell silent. The runways cracked. But around 2014, something changed. The Kremlin realized that the Arctic was melting. Not quickly, not in a single season, but consistently. And every year that the ice retreats, the Northern Sea route opens for another 2 weeks. That route changes everything. If Russia can secure a maritime highway from Murmansk to the Bering Strait, it becomes the economic juggernaut of the Northern Hemisphere. But an economic route without military protection is just a target. So, the restoration began. The Northern Clover Base on Alexandra Land was reopened. The radar network on Novaya Zemlya was upgraded to detect stealth cruise missiles from 400 kilometers away. The restoration of the nuclear missiles is even more specific. Russia has deployed the Yars ICBM systems in mobile launchers across the Taimyr Peninsula. These are not fixed silos that can be targeted by a first strike. They are mobile, hidden in the valleys of the Beranga Mountains, covered by snow and radio silence. By restoring this ground leg of the Triad in the Arctic, Russia ensures that even if its European heartland is destroyed, the northern launch sites will remain invisible and intact. They are the silent sentinels. Why is the Arctic the most protector for Russia in a nuclear war? Imagine the scenario that Russian military planners have modeled for decades. A massive nuclear exchange occurs. Cities in Europe, the Urals and Western Siberia are hit. The command structure is strained. The electromagnetic pulses fry communications. But in the Arctic, the very geography creates a sanctuary. First, the population density is near zero. There is no strategic value for an enemy to waste a warhead on a village of 50 reindeer herders. Second, the Earth's magnetic field converges at the pole. This disrupts the accuracy of inertial navigation systems on incoming missiles. A warhead aimed at an Arctic missile field might drift off course by several kilometers. Third, and most importantly, Russia has built the Kura missile test range in Kamchatka, but the true defensive ring is the radar network of the Arctic. The Voronezh DM radars in Olenogorsk and Pechora scan the horizon for threats coming over the pole, because the Arctic is a closed loop. To hit Russia's interior, missiles must fly over the Arctic. And to fly over the Arctic, they must pass through the kill zone of Russia's northern air defense umbrella. In effect, Russia has turned the top of the world into a fortress courtyard. The enemy must enter the courtyard to strike the house. And inside that courtyard, the Russian Northern Fleet's submarines are waiting under the ice. These submarines carry the Bulava SLBMs. In a retaliatory strike, they would surface through the ice, fire their missiles over the pole, and return to the abyss. The ice does not trap them. It protects them. So how is Russia constantly passing through the frozen Arctic? The answer is the nuclear icebreaker fleet. No other nation possesses anything like it. The Arktika-class icebreakers can smash through ice nearly 3 meters thick. They escort military cargo ships directly to the front line of the polar bases. While other nations send one research ship per summer, Russia moves entire battle groups in winter. This constant passage is not a stunt. It is a logistics pipeline. Fuel, missiles, spare parts, and soldiers move along this frozen highway every single day. The Russian Arctic expansion is not an act of aggression. From the Russian strategic view, it is an act of survival. By locking down the high ground, by hiding the nuclear triad under the ice, and by restoring the airfields that broke apart in the 1990s, Moscow is ensuring that no foreign power can dictate terms from the north. Until now, that's all for today, and thank you guys for watching the video.